Darkness covers Issa's shore as she emerges from the 80-meter tunnel that leads away from her captors. Issa was just 20, with her family and friends, in a tunnel escape that was life or death.
200 people surround her, whispering, moving quickly, escaping into the night. Then the sound of Nazi gunshots pierced the quiet. In the midst of all the shooting, Issa didn't know if she would make it. Nazi soldiers begin gunning families down one by one. Though when all seems lost, Tuvia, Zeus, and the Bielski Partisans emerge from the dark forest ahead.
The image on the screen is an AI-generated image of what the escape from the ghettos would have looked like. We used it because it describes a more accurate representation of the mass tunnel escape.
Zeus, Aesel, and Aaron, more commonly known as the Bielski brothers, grew up on a small farm in eastern Poland, or modern-day Belarus. They lived a normal childhood and were barely affected by World War I. Tuvia, the eldest brother, was 33 years of age when the Soviet Union annexed most of Poland in 1939. However, the family's simple life in their home village was barely disrupted. Because of the remoteness of the rural town, all four siblings had mastered outdoorsmanship and hunting. Even Aaron, who was only 14 at the time, could shoot well with a good rifle. Even though Tuvia left to be with his wife, the family continued to live happily and safely, gaining the wisdom Mother Nature had to offer.
On June 22, 1941, the Nazi army launched a devastating surprise attack on the Soviet Union and Poland that was later named Operation Barbarossa. After the German army captured the Bielski small town, Gestapo forces took their mother and father away and brutally killed them. The terrified younger brothers fled to the Nalibaki forest and set up camp as a family of 3. Luckily, when hearing of the plight, Tuvia quickly found them and helped them hunt and gather food.
But the brothers soon began to run out of necessities like food and fuel. As a group, they began to target and raid small German convoys to obtain guns, ammunition, and other supplies. The Bielski brothers were able to gather the materials they needed, even though they had to force their way into German towns. They started taking frightened Jewish people as their own and made a name for themselves. Being known proved to be a problem for the Bielskis, as the Nazis realized their existence and the threat of a partisan group.
Subsequently, in June 1943, enormous sums of money were placed on the Bielskis' heads. Tuvia alone was worth 100,000 marks. The German army, tired of being consistently pestered and beaten by the Bielskis, sent their famous Blitzkrieg attack into the Nalibaki forest. Planes roared overhead, tanks rumbled across dirt and mud, infantrymen scrambled over roots and by trees. Some of the 900 or so stayed back to hold the advance back, while hundreds of innocent minorities fled deeper into the forest.
In their darkest hour, the partisans, ragged and beaten, barely survived the Blitz. The Bielski brothers led a journey to a temporary home in the Jasinowo forest during the time when the attacks were taking out many Jews. The total number of Jews that lost their lives in Operation Hermann was estimated to be about 30, but with the fall and winter coming up and their shelter nearly destroyed, the consequences were more severe than the numbers suggest.
The small resistance group had no time to waste. They quickly returned to their old encampment when it was safe and concocted many more plans. In one instance, they needed more members and fighters to make an impact on the German machine. Also, many members of the partisan group had family members living in the Novogroda ghetto. So the partisans convinced a group of Jewish people living there to come to the forest and fight with them. The Jews, facing total liquidation, dug an 80-meter-long tunnel and under heavy fire escaped into the forest. Many other plans occurred like this, but the Novogrodic escape was the most famous.
The war concluded in 1944. Jews across Europe rejoiced about the end of the Nazis, but tens of thousands mourned in pain and sorrow for their losses.